Andor Season 2 is underway, and Episode 1 just treated us to one of the most crucial scenes in the entire series. But I believe this scene with Director Krennic hosting this secret Imperial meeting is not what it appears to be. So I've clipped these scenes together and done this breakdown to make sure you're not missing out on any of this vital information for the rest of the season. We start off in a secret Imperial base up in the mountains of this new planet called the Malthine Divide. Right from the start of Director Krennic's presentation, we can tell there's something very wrong about this. Krennic tells these officers they're not to record this meeting, they're not to discuss this with their superiors, it's not to even appear in their diaries. It simply didn't exist, and that's our first big red flag. I believe that Director Krennic is directly lying to these officers. But this ties into the final sequence of the 5, so I'll come back to this in a second. Let's start with what the scene appears to be on the surface, and that is Director Krennic telling his officers they're now part of an Imperial clean energy program. And this is our first introduction and mention of the planet Ghorman, which we know is going to be crucial right across the whole season. We learn that Ghorman has a population of 800,000 split over 9 cities, and that those 9 cities are all engaged in the same trade. That trade is collecting spider silk and weaving it into fabric. And we're told that each city performs a symbiotic role in the production and distribution of this material. But then we're told that the Empire has discovered that a rare mineral is present on the planet, and that the Empire needs this mineral for its clean energy program. More on that in a second. The only way to get the material would be to gouge mine the planet, which would cause colossal environmental damage. Major Partagaz mentions this isn't some remote outer rim world, and doing something like this on an important world like Ghorman will have a major political impact. Krennic reveals they're aware of the difficulties of the situation and have been working on this plan for quite some time, and he introduces us to 2 individuals from something called the Ministry of Enlightenment. This is basically a massive propaganda operation, and we find out that the trade disputes and various problems that Mon Mothma mentioned in Season 1 have all been manipulated and set up by this Imperial division. But I think everything Krennic has said here is a complete and utter lie. They don't need this mineral for the Empire's clean energy program. Krennic needs this material for the Death Star super laser. We know that Krennic is under a huge amount of pressure. He only has 3 years left to deliver this super weapon for the Emperor. I think he's taking shortcuts. I think he knows this is going to cause a colossal problem, and I think he's looking for someone to take the fall. And I'm sure it's no coincidence that the next time we see him he's talking to Dedra, and he's reminding her that she's lucky that her career survived the disaster at Ferrix. He asks her opinion on the project. She's clearly very reluctant, but he pushes her, and she says that what they need is their own controllable rebel cell on the planet, basically to conduct false flag operations. So why do I think he's lying, and why do I think he's setting Dedra up for the fall here? Well, right at the start of the presentation he mentions that he's spoken to the Emperor. He also mentions that if anybody says anything outside of this circle, he'll go to the Emperor personally. And of course, if you've seen Rogue One, we know very well that Krennic answers to Tarkin. And we know from Rogue One that Krennic is absolutely desperate to meet the Emperor personally and have his work recognised by him. So we know he's lying to these officers about this, and that's further held out by the 2 people he specifically tells them not to contact, and that's Colonel Yularen and of course Moff Tarkin. So I think we're seeing a massive chain of Imperial corruption here. Tarkin is using Krennic, I think Krennic is trying to use Dedra, and I have a sneaking suspicion Dedra is going to use Cyril. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button before you go. And stay tuned to the channel because I've got 3 breakdown videos on the first 3 episodes coming very soon. Until then, here's my suggestion of what to watch next. And remember, look to the Force and you will always find me.